There are 6 basic verb tenses in English: present, past, and future. And then there are 3 perfect versions of each of those. So there's the present perfect, past perfect, and future perfect. The first 3 tenses are pretty straightforward, not that complicated really. So we'll go through them fairly quickly. And then we'll slow down with the 3 perfect tenses that take a little bit more concentration, a little bit more explanation. For each tense, we need to know when the tense gets used, and we need to know how to form the tense. The present tense is probably the easiest of them all. It's the tense that we use for a verb or an action that's happening right now, right this instant. We also use it for an action that happens on a regular basis, meaning like every day, every week, every year. For example, every Thanksgiving, my family eats lunch together. That verb eats is in the present tense, even though it's not Thanksgiving right now, and I'm not eating right now, because it happens every Thanksgiving. That's a regular basis, so I've used the present tense. All of these verbs are in the present tense. The only reason they change forms is because they need to agree with whatever subject I want to use in a given sentence. That really is a separate lesson, subject-verb agreement. But we might say, I walk, you walk, we walk, they walk. But I would say, he walks, she walks. I could say, I am walking, you are walking, she is walking. All of those are still in the present tense. It's just changing forms a little bit to match the subject that I want to use. These are all actions that are happening right now, or they happen on a regular basis. Right now, I'm eating a pizza. Present tense. I eat a pizza every Friday night. Still present tense. The past tense is the tense we use when an action's already occurred. It's over and done with. You can see from these examples what they have in common. They end in ed. So if the walking happened in the past, we would say he walked around the block. The cat watched a bird outside the window for 2 hours earlier today. She flipped through a magazine while she waited for her children. These regular past tense verbs end in ed. But not all verbs form the past tense by adding ed. Some of them are irregular. Irregular means doesn't follow the rule, doesn't follow the normal ed rule. For example, would I say I fighted with my brother? No, I'd say I fought. Fought's in the past tense, but it doesn't end in ed because it's irregular. I singed with the choir? No, I sang with the choir. Sing is an irregular verb, so it can't form its past by just putting ed on the end. Singed. The whole verb spelling changes in an unpredictable way and becomes sang. So regular verbs change in predictable ways. In the past tense, you can just put ed on the end. Irregular verbs change in unpredictable ways. Sing becomes sang in the past. She took a pill, not she taked a pill. He felt sick, not he feeled sick. We wrote an essay, not we writed an essay, and so forth. These are irregular past tense forms. The future tense is the tense that we use when an action hasn't occurred yet. It'll happen later in the future. You can see what all of these have in common. They all have the word will before the basic action. So will walk, will forget, will ask. Those are all in the future tense. This is the first time we've seen a verb form that requires more than one word. Will go is a single verb. It's just a verb phrase that requires 2 words to get expressed. That first word there, will, we call an auxiliary verb. Sometimes called helping verbs at lower levels, it's called an auxiliary verb. And the second word, go, is just the basic form of the verb. So will go is a verb phrase. all future tense verbs in English or verb phrases, they always start with will. There's no such thing as an irregular future tense in English. It's always will go, will see, will do, will walk. The one little exception, if you happen to be using a contraction form, won't is just another way of saying will not. We don't say won't because it's too hard to pronounce. So over the centuries, won't was substituted with won't. But won't spend still counts as the future tense. That's the only time you won't see the letters W-I-L-L. By the way, not is just an adverb in these examples. The verb in the second sentence is will spend. The verb in the third example is will spend.